Seriously, it's way too late to realize that now. Our only option is to face her death head on.
Face her death?
Himiko, I understand what you're going through. So I'm gonna help you out. Let's work together to find the truth. I'm not gonna let anyone say her death didn't matter.
Kaito. Alright. I'll put a silencing curse on whoever calls Tenko's death meaningless. The name of the curse is Death Curse! I suppose being dead would silence someone pretty good.
Yeah.
Listen up! All you guys are gonna help out too. Abandoning someone who died and only thinking about your own survival. That's just as bad as a hit and run! I won't forgive something so messed up!
Tenko was our friend. Gonta wanna know why she died too.
I already told you that's so unnecessary. We're getting sidetracked here.
No, we're not. You can't prove that her death isn't in some way linked to Angie's death, so we need to investigate that possible link. Plus, Kokichi, you just wouldn't understand. Maybe you do, and you just don't want to.
No, even if it was a different culprit, we need to know how Tenko died. If we don't find out who killed her, we won't be able to work together. Not now, not ever. Even if this trial isn't for her, in order for us to survive, we need to get to the bottom of Tenko's death. Not just to survive this trial, but so we can keep going and live on!
Kaito.
Finally, you noticed. Jeez, you're so slow.
You, shut it. Shuichi, we need to work on our game as well. Come on, I know you're not the most out there person in the world, but we can do some inspiring stuff too.
Huh? Did Kokichi want us to notice?
Don't listen to his crap. We haven't decided whether there were two different culprits yet.
Let us talk about Tenko's case then. Perhaps that will provide us a clue.
Yeah, maybe.
They're not wrong, but I don't mind going over Tenko's case. But that was an abrupt change of topic. Was that intentional?
So what do we talk about first?
For now, let's see if we can narrow down the list of suspects.
Tancrotch probably got killed during the seance, so everyone there's suspicious. Tancrotch!
Please don't badmouth the dead. The people who attended the seance. The people who attended the seance were Korikyo, Shuichi, Himiko, and Kokichi. Yeah.
That's it.
Top answer.
It was me, Kyo, Himiko, and Kokichi.
So those four are the culprits!
No, don't just... Why do there have to be four?
Oh, Himiko's still culprit?
No! Gonta!
Well, that's probably just a coinkydink. The most suspicious out of the four is really Kyo. He suggested the whole seance idea.
True, I may have suggested it, but I explained the procedure beforehand, yes? If we all knew of it before the murder, then we are all equally suspicious.
Well, I suppose, but...
In addition, the seance wasn't entirely in my control either. I was not the one who selected the room we performed it in. It was Himiko.
That is true.
Oh, right.
Also, We should not limit our suspects to only those who participated in the seance. The empty room had a point of entry from outside, you see.
The point of entry from outside. He must be referring to... You mean... the hole right here?
There! You're talking about under the floor, right?
Huh? Under the floor?
Yes, there's a crawl space under the floor a person can move through. There was also a hole that connected it to the neighboring room.
If the culprit used the hole, they could have entered and exited the seance room.
If we consider that possibility, then there is another suspect.
Another suspect? Who?
It's appearing before me. Oh, I can see it clearly. The true identity of Tenko's killer.
Just start with the creepy stuff and say what's on your mind. Straight into a non-stop debate, eh? I'm going to take a wild guess and say you're going to bring up, yep, Kibo's flashlight function.
In during the seance by crawling under the floor.
But it was pitch black during the seance. How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
Yeah, you're talking about this. Okay, nope, that doesn't count.
Oh no!
Huh.
The culprit sneaked in during the seance.
Hole in the corner, cage child,
By
loose
crawling
floorboard.
under the floor.
Yeah, it's gotta be Kibo's flashlight function. Huh. Maybe I was a little bit too hasty with the trigger.
Because it wasn't dark under the floor.
But this machine gun function
You
is
see, our villain had a light.
Light? You mean
pretty damn good. No, not a
I
candle.
mean Kibo's flashlight function.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to bring up.
Now, hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the
Hang on,
and
let me
sneak
see
into
the whole
empty
thing.
room during the seance.
I said, hold on a second.
He used his robot functions to commit the murders.
Hold on a second.
It's true that with a little light you could move around under the floor. But is that possible?
The culprit sneaked.
Okay, let me read this. A function that Mew had added to Kibo, he can emit a blinding light from his eyes. Is it because it's from his eyes that he can't use it? Hole in the corner. There's space under the floor, so you can see what's dropped there. We've got the cage child, which is the whole entire... If you need 5 people. Maybe he wants me. Maybe it wants me to bring up the fact that the whole entire room has to be dark. So if he emitted a, blinding light, that would have lit up the entire room. And then the last one is the loose floorboard. Okay, so it has to be one of these two: the Kibo's flashlight function or the
Under the floor.
hole in the corner.
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
I'm gonna just try this right now. Yeah, okay, that didn't work. I thought it wouldn't, but I wanted to at least give it a try.
The culprit
I hope I'm
sneaked in
not
during
making a
the
leap of
seance
logic right here.
by crawling
Hang on, I think I've been thinking about this all wrong. If there's a hole in the corner, we would have seen light from the hole. That's probably what it wants me to point out. Hang on. Please be right. Yes, I was! Okay, took a few more rounds of thinking to get to that point.
I don't think the culprit could have used a light while under the floor. There was a hole in the corner of the room. If a light were used, it would have leaked through and we would have seen it.
Again, I was along the right lines of the caged child needing to be dark, and we would have seen it. Just wrong piece of evidence.
But when we did the seance, the room was definitely pitch black.
So a light was not shined under the floor, which means you cannot claim I am the culprit.
Jeez,
Here I thought this would be the case where the murder could only be done by a robot.
You have accused me of being the culprit more than once now, simply because I am a robot. My status as a robot does not mean I am capable of performing superhuman feats. My vision is somewhat poor, and I only possess average physical strength and intelligence.
All right, you made your point. God, now I feel sort of bad for you.
That's probably a lie.
I neither want nor need your pity.
Enough with the flashlight! It's way too bright!
It would have been difficult to move around under the floor in that pitch-black darkness. Maybe the floor and the hole have nothing to do with this case.
Then why was floorboard under Tenko lined up funny? Gonta think that was so culprit could stab Tenko from under floor.
Ooh, nice observation, Gonta. Are you finally getting used to the class trials?
Uh-huh. Thank you.
No, Gonta, you shouldn't be getting used to these.
Don't say it like that. You're better off not being used to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, as Taito said.
Maybe they marked Tenko with glowing paint and looked for that. That'd let the culprit find her. Then they could stab her through the floorboards.
Boy, that sounds really familiar too. But I'm just gonna ignore it.
Stop referencing... Gah!
Her corpse didn't have any trace of glowing paint, though.
Oh, yeah. So then why was that floorboard loose?
The loose floorboard was the one under Tenko, right? If the culprit used it while she was still alive, she'd totally notice.
Who fucking cares? Fussing over that won't get us closer to the culprit!
We shouldn't dismiss this line of inquiry, however. Instead of butting our heads against this, how about we concentrate on another issue?
What other issue?
Perhaps first, we should figure out how and when exactly Tenko was killed.
When? So not during seance?
Tenko was in the metal cage for the whole seance, wasn't she? How could someone have gotten to her there?
Maybe the culprit killed her before she went under the metal cage.
That's not possible. She was alive at that point.
You asked her not to speak. And she was speaking at that point.
Yes, she was unmistakably alive when the seance began.
That was right before we blew out the candles. But when the light came back...
The floorboard was removed at that point, so it's likely she was already dead then.
So she was killed when the room was dark?
But she was inside cage, right? Going to think it impossible to kill her then.
Then she wasn't killed when the room was dark. It was a different time.
A different time?
How the fuck should I know? You figure it out, shitheads.
Huh?
Since Gonta said it was impossible, I'm proposing an alternate theory. Now hurry up and think! If you want to make my golden brain tingle, start circle jerking your lipstick brains!
I don't even know what to... Sure. Marker stone, iron cage, white sheet,
When
dog
Tenko
statue.
got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time.
I do agree with that.
The cage was lifted.
What about moment cage was lifted?
Like that.
When cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast.
What?
So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
So who lifted the cage?
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit.
There's no down!
What was that? Tenko not being killed during the seance? Stop trying to distract me, Mew. That might not be possible, but there's no evidence for it.
When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead when it
Let's see, Dodge statue, 175 pounds. That was before the cage was taken off.
Which was lifted.
White sheet. The sheet that was over the iron cage during the seance is very thick and cannot be seen through. There is blood on the back, so there's around the middle of the sheet, but there's no hole in the fabric. Oh! There's no hole in the fabric! No! It can't have been then.
That's wrong!
At least I think my line of thinking is correct.
No, it wasn't possible to kill her the moment the cage was lifted. Because the inside of the white cloth had Tenko's blood on it.
That wasn't my line of thinking at all, but I'll take it.
That cloth was removed before the cage was lifted. If Tenko was stabbed then, there wouldn't be blood on the cloth.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. I was more thinking maybe they did it while the white cloth was on, but nope, that makes perfect sense.
What? But how could my golden brain be wrong when it felt so right?
The only possibility is that Tenko was killed during the seance.
I got your remodel right here!
Oh, why are you rebuting?
No, it's still wrong to think that Tenko was killed during the seance.
What?
I'm gonna prove it right now. My golden brain is gonna go all out!
God, are you just using this as an excuse to, like, fuel yourself up? Right, okay.
Tenko died after the seance.
Damn it, Miyu, did you have to let your
Sheet
freaking
was
ego
lifted. That
get
was
in the way of
the culprit chose
the investigation?
to stab the
Not
fuck out of
investigation.
Tenko through the
Trial
cage.
again.
They stuck the thin blade through the gap, and that clean white sheet got stained blood red!
But the weapon was a sickle. Only the blade could have fit through the gaps.
Come on, show me your weak point.
The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all
Wait a minute,
exposed.
she wasn't sitting!
I'll cut through your words.
Ha! I got you!
Wait just a minute. Tenko wasn't sitting down inside the cage. She was bent over with her forehead against the marker stone. And the cage itself was about 3 feet tall. The sickle's blade was too short to reach Tenko while she was in that position.
Then I messed up again? How could this happen? I am so embarrassed.
No worries, Mew. Everyone already knows you're an embarrassment to the human race.
Yeah, no worries.
How embarrassing!
If Shuichi is right, then it's impossible for Tenko to have been killed through the cage.
She couldn't have been killed during the seance since she was in the cage, right?
If she was killed then, the cloth over the cage would have been pierced.
Not during the seance or from below the floor. Then it's impossible, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. I have one idea. Let's hear some more first.
Yeah, for a living person.
Huh?
What if Angie's spirit killed Tenko?
What are you talking about? That's not possible.
We don't know that. Some things are impossible for a human, but not for a spirit.
Don't say stupid stuff like that. Screw spirits!
Don't bring up this crap again.
Stop that now.
Thank you, Mackie.
Angie's spirit killed Tenko? Why?
Oh, God damn it, Kokichi, look what you've done now.
Himiko?
Why would Angie's spirit kill Tenko?
What if Tenko killed Angie, and then Angie's spirit came back for revenge?
Like I said, that's impossible! Spirits can't be culprits!
Then explain how the culprit killed Tenko under these impossible circumstances.
Well,
See? You can't explain, can you? Only a spirit could have done—
Wait! I know! What if the culprit was hiding inside the cage?
What?
If they were in there, they could have stabbed Tenko during the seance!
No. If there was someone else in the cage, we would have noticed.
I agree with Kaito. The culprit could have been inside the cage.
What, you do?
Nonsense. There was no space in the cage for the culprit to hide.
Maybe the culprit wouldn't need to hide in the first place.
What?
Also, the culprit could have killed her in the cage at any time. I think you know what I'm getting at, right?
The day she's referring to. Wait, are you talking about suicide?
I believe Maki is referring to Tenko herself.
What did you say? Are you saying Tenko is the culprit?
She committed suicide.
Suicide?
If she committed suicide, it would explain a lot of things we couldn't figure out. She volunteered to be in the cage, and then stabbed herself during the seance. It wouldn't matter how dark the room was.
But the sickle she was stabbed with was under the floor, right? If Tenko had stabbed herself, wouldn't the sickle still be inside the cage?
Oh my god. Mew actually said something smart.
Perhaps that explains why the floorboard was removed. After stabbing herself with the sickle, she threw it underneath the floor.
So she took off the floorboard to get rid of the sickle?
Yes, that makes sense to Gonta.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me. There's no reason for Tenko to commit suicide.
Maybe I wasn't too far off with the theory I had earlier. You know, about Tenko killing Angie.
Yeah?
Because Tenko and Angie were fighting for your attention, right? Tenko's pent-up frustration led her to commit such an atrocity. Her conscience couldn't handle it anymore, so she decided to end her own life.
What?
But if she was gonna kill herself, why do it during the seance?
She wanted to hide the truth of her suicide.
Really? Why?
There could only be one reason to hide it in a killing game, right? It's to take us down with her.
Take us down?
She wanted us to pick the wrong answer during the class trial, so she could bring us all down. She wanted us to die with her. Okay, well, she probably just wanted Himiko to die with her, but still.
What are you saying? Tenko wasn't like that. She told me.
I was about to bring this up. Don't forget the words she said to you, Himiko.
What if all of that was just a lie?
A lie?
Wait, we should believe Tenko's last words.
The true terror of class trials is that you shouldn't believe everything said.
Himiko, you said that Tenko would never do anything like that. But how can you be so sure? Did you guys actually know each other? People keep all sorts of secrets. Like Maki. She hid the fact that she's a cold-blooded killer. Is it wise of us to trust other people wholeheartedly in this kind of situation?
Jeez, you're such a naive dude.
I guess this time I don't even need to say anything. Take you away, Kaito.
Naive?
We're all just people, you know? Of course we're gonna have some secrets. What matters is whether there's any malice behind them.
People can lie about how malicious their hidden secrets really are.
Well, duh. It's impossible to know for sure what others are thinking. That's why it all comes down to whether or not you believe in yourself. If you get betrayed, it's not their fault. It's your fault for believing in them. That's why I believed in Maki Roll, because I wanted to believe in her.
Just because you're acting all cool doesn't mean you get to skip training.
Hey, come on. Don't you think you're being a little too strict?
Not at all. But I agree with your sentiments, Kaito.
Well, we come from different backgrounds. So for now, let's agree to disagree. No one's ever called me naive before. And from Kaito? Seriously?
Whether or not I believe, my heart can't reach Tenko anymore. But I want to believe in her. She wouldn't commit suicide. She wouldn't try to take us down.
I agree with Himiko on that.
That's what I want to believe.
Me too. Gonta no can believe Tenko commits suicide.
But if Tenko did commit suicide, that would answer all of our questions.
If you insist we believe in Tenko, then provide a reason to do so.
A proper reason.
All right, I'll give you a reason.
Is there a reason?
Yes, there is. Will you trust me, Maki? If it turns out I'm wrong, you can blame me all you like. But for now, I need you to trust in my detective work.
I don't believe Tenko would kill herself because of what she said. I'll see you guys after the seance. Those were her exact words, and I doubt she had a sudden change of heart. Just because we don't know how she was killed doesn't mean that it was suicide. We shouldn't be satisfied with that, and if we keep thinking, we'll find the truth. And that means we have to believe in Tenko. I'll make them all believe. Is it time to work our little bit of dirty detective work, Shuichi?
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle underneath the floor. All the pieces fit.
Everyone thinks that Tenko committed suicide, but only because they're latching onto the easiest answer. To get out of this, I need to make them think that suicide theory wouldn't work.
So far, suicide
Which
seems
means-
to be the best explanation.
We've got to
Her
lie.
plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person!
And I think I know the one I need to
Tenko
do.
did commit suicide. It would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Right?
Finally, with the
Here.
I'll reveal the truth.
With my lie.
Tenko couldn't have thrown the sickle under the floor. Because she died instantly.
Instantly?
What are you going to say to that, Mackie?
I'm certain of it. My investigation determined that she died instantly.
What's your opinion, Maki? I'd like to hear from someone who specializes in murder.
Maki.
You're right. I completely forgot about that important detail.
Thank you.
Tenko died instantly.
what?
As an assassin, I specialize in killing my targets swiftly. I have no doubt that Tenko was killed immediately.
Words of a true killer. Pretty sure we can believe everything she said.
Thank you, Mackie.
How could you forget that, Maki Roll? You better apologize to Shuichi.
No, she doesn't need to apologize.
Excuse me?
Don't push her, please, Kaito.
It's okay, Kaito, really. No apology necessary. Anyway, Tenko died so suddenly that she couldn't have gotten rid of the sickle. Knowing that, the theory that she killed herself just doesn't fit, correct?
Just like I thought. Tenko wouldn't commit suicide.
Thank goodness, Himiko.
Which means someone definitely killed Tenko during the seance.
Her suicide was considered because we could not determine how she was killed.
No! There must have been a way! We're gonna figure it out!
Did any of the participants witness anything peculiar during the seance?
No, we didn't witness anything. But I did hear something.
If you know something, please speak up. It could be the key to solving this mystery.
Not a bad idea. We should remember what happened at the seance. Let me try to remember. I'm sure there's something. I need some kind of clue that will help me solve this mystery. It's got to be right there, right? Sound during the seance.
Did anything seem out of the ordinary during the seance?
There is something that bothers me. The fact that the seance failed. The ritual was perfect. How utterly strange.
No, it wasn't 100% perfect.
While we were all singing the song, I heard something fall.
Yes! That's what we need!
I agree! Himiko, you think that something fell because of that sound you heard, right?
On the fourth verse, right? It wasn't a bang, it was more of a thunk.
It sounded like something heavy fell down and hit the floor really hard. What could have fallen down?
Fallen down? There wasn't anything on the ceiling that could have fallen down, right?
No, not on the ceiling.
Am I wrong? I thought something fell, but
The sound was pretty loud. It did seem like something hit the floorboards.
A loud sound, something hitting the floorboards. Maybe that sound had something to do with the other thing that happened in the dark. You mean this right here? Where is it? There it is.
This is it! I think the floorboard coming off had something to do with that sound. That floorboard came loose at some point during the seance, right?
Would the floorboard have made such a loud sound, though?
It was the sound of an intense impact.
What if it hit the iron cage?
If the impact was that intense, then it could have loosened the floorboard.
That is true. There would have had to be a strong impact to make that sound. But what was it? What could it possibly be?
All right then, let's go with that. We all gotta put our heads together now.
Sound during seance, magic circle,
made the
cross piece,
floorboard come
and
loose?
what was that last one? Dry
Judging
blood
from
under
the
the
sound,
floor.
There must have been considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore off the floorboard.
That wouldn't make such a loud crashing sound.
Maybe the wooden statue fell over.
No, that was
That
definitely on top
statue
of the
was
iron
still on
cage.
top of the cage.
Yeah, as Mio pointed out.
Underfloor. Then stood up with such might.
But we already said there was no one under the floor.
Someone must have stomped through the floorboard.
A floorboard that comes loose when you step on it is dangerous.
Yeah,
God,
as
it's like I'm
Kokichi
the
found
only
out.
one here who's staying on the ball.
You hardly have any experience with balls to say that, Mew.
Don't be stupid.
Let me take a look. Dry blood. Probably not Tenko's blood. Dodge statue. It was still on top, so it couldn't have been that. With the cross pieces that supported the loose floorboard in the room, only a portion that supports the floorboard was cut off. It wasn't broken naturally. It looked like someone had purposely cut it.
You know, me and Balls are the best of friends.
But why is that a... No, don't get distracted.
So what
I
made the
mentioned
floorboard
before
come
that I had a
loose?
crazy theory on how
Judging from
She
the
could have been
sound, there
killed.
must have been considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance.
if this turns out to be correct,
Underfloor.
right around. No, not this one.
But we already said there was...
Someone must have stomped through the...
Here!
I agree. Kokichi is right. The floorboard came loose because someone stomped on it.
The floorboards fit perfect. Going to make sure first time we go to empty room.
When we first saw the room, yes. But when I looked again during the investigation, one of the cross pieces supporting the floorboards was cut off. After examining the cut, I concluded that it must have been done deliberately.
Someone? You mean the culprit, right? Why'd they do that?
What did the culprit stand to gain by cutting the cross piece?
What did they stand to gain? That's the question. To solve this case, I need to think carefully about the crosspiece and the floorboard. Tenko's body was at one end of the loose floorboard, and the crosspiece that had been cut off was on the other end of the floorboard. The unsupported part was outside the cage, so it would have been stomped on. Only one of the cross pieces was cut, the other two were intact. One of them was right under Tenko, and the other was in the center, about where the edge of the cage was. What was the culprit attempting to achieve by stomping on the floorboard? Think, come on, think! Is this where I get to use my crazy theory? Oh god, that's a long... That's a long... Oh my god! Yes! I know what it wants me to spell out, and it's what I thought it was. Come on. I don't know what the second word is, but I definitely know what the first one they want me to do is. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of randomly selected some letters at the start, and I just was super lucky. I don't know. What do you want? What's the second one? Seesaw. Seesaw. See? No. I don't. Seesaw park ride? Seesaw No, I did see already. Crap! I don't know what the second word it wants me to do is. F? No. E? Seesaw. Effect? Effect! Seesaw effect. I need another F. Can I get another F, please? Thank you. C. And T.
That's right. The floorboard might have been used as a seesaw.
A seesaw?
Alright, guys, hear me out. The murder weapon was underneath the floorboard, and someone were to stamp on it upward. Considering Tenko was kneeled over, that would be perfect, ample opportunity to just... God! I thought about this like ages ago, and I didn't want to say anything just in case I was wrong, but...
The crosspiece at one end of the floorboard had been cut off. The other two crosspieces holding up that board were close to the cage. Meaning, if you were to apply force to the end of the floorboard with no crosspiece, the next crosspiece would act as a fulcrum to turn the floorboard into a lever.
Except, slightly different variation on my theory. That must have mean that the weapon was inside the cage? If it's a sickle with a curved blade, that could still work, considering it's a small weapon and the cage itself is curved. But, wait, no, we would have seen it. Ah! Damn! My theory's not completely 100% accurate.
A lever capable of lifting up Tenko's entire body.
Her whole body lifted up?
Yeah, that sounds like a seesaw, all right. But why bother lifting Tenko's body?
They couldn't have killed Tenko like that, unless they used the sickle.
That's exactly it. Using the seesaw trick, it was possible to kill Tenko with a sickle.
Huh? How?
In order for the culprit to kill Tenko with a seesaw trick, the placement of the sickle is the most important factor.
The floorboard seesawed, the cage, and the blood on the white fabric. What conclusions can I draw from this? There's only one place the sickle could have been that is consistent with the evidence. So I was correct? It is the top of the cage? I'm gonna go for it.
That's it! The sickle was at the top of the iron cage, with the blade facing down. The reason we didn't see it was because of the fabric covering the cage. Also, the wooden statue kept the blade in place. It's true that the sickle's handle was thick, which made the statue wobble. But the statue's weight kept it from falling over. Once everything was in place, if you stepped hard enough on the seesaw, Tenko's body would have shot upward and hit the blade on the top of the cage. She was bent over, meaning the sickle's blade would have connected with her neck.
The 6-inch sickle blade wasn't long enough to stab Tenko in her crouched position. But with the floorboard acting as a seesaw, it could compensate for the blade's length.
So it wasn't seesawing from downward upward, it was seesawing upward downward. Yeah.
Bringing the victim to the sickle rather than bringing the sickle to the victim.
Again, right line of thought, I was just slightly off. God, I have a good habit of doing that.
That's definitely an unorthodox idea.
It's crazy, but it would explain how Tenko got stabbed while she was in the cage.
So the sound we heard was the culprit stomping on the floorboard.
That impact made floorboard come loose.
Looks like we got ourselves a good old-fashioned seesaw homicide.
I'm pretty sure it's not an old-fashioned method. We just said it was unorthodox.
Wait, what the hell's a seesaw homicide? That's fucking crazy!
You just disagreed with yourself.
The craziness is what really makes the killing game fun, you know? They can't get away with murder the normal way, so they gotta think outside the box. Kudos, culprit! You did a great job keeping me entertained.
Indeed. Well played, Himiko.
Yeah?
It was you, wasn't it? The one behind the seesaw homicide.
Why her?
Because she's the only one capable of carrying out this plan.
The only one? Why's that?
Because this seesaw homicide required its location to be prepared beforehand.
By cutting the crosspiece beneath the floorboard, you mean?
Then the culprit would need to lure their victim into the prepared room. That is why you chose that room for the seance. Is it not, Himiko?
You bring that point up again. Certainly is suspicious.
Oh yeah! Himiko was the one who chose the site for the seance!
She likely found out about my plans for the seance somehow.
You were quite vocal about the seance, Kyo. You even had instructions for it in your lab.
Our culprit, Himiko, prepared her seesaw trap ahead of time. Then she waited for me to host the seance and suggested the middle room. She led us all into holding the seance right where she wanted it. Then, she killed Tenko, all according to plan.
That's a lie, right? Himiko did such a thing?
In the end, Himiko, who Tenko cherished and loved, tragically killed her.
Wait! We don't know that, right?
No, we don't.
He's wrong, right, Himiko? Himiko would never kill Tenko, right?
Kill Tenko? I killed Tenko?
Why are you hesitating?
Himiko?
What's wrong, Himiko?
It is true that using the middle room was Himiko's idea. But does that mean that Himiko really killed Tenko? Would something like that really happen? Something so cruel.